Carved into these ancient mountains are communities of varying cultures.
Woven together for survival.
Torn apart and exploited for generations.
Join us as we mend those wounds with mutual aid and raw, unapologetic conversations.
Our voices, our platform.
This is Appalachian Living.
You changed.
Glad you didn't.
Glad you got out of that.
Glad
shoot.
you didn't know
you're
me
raised in
before
what?
you met me. I was raised to say the
Appalachian. Appalachian.
Now, where is this?
the Eastern Panhandle.
That's not
See,
really.
Maryland. Sorry.
And we've already started,
of
folks.
Maryland.
We're just going to go ahead and start because that's how we do.
We're not proper. Welcome.
welcome. It is Appalachian Living, and right now we have a very special guest in our home studio, the Appalachian Oracle.
Yay.
Welcome. Now, what else do we call you?
Sarah.
Sarah. Yeah.
Thank
Well,
you so
I
much
didn't
for
know-
making the drive down.
I didn't
Absolutely.
know. I didn't know whether you actually wanted to say your name.
Not,
Or
my
whatever.
full biblical name, but
Okay. So
We're using code names.
we're using code
So
names.
one of the reasons we've invited Sarah here, and I told Lindsay I want to speak personally, that when I came across your feed on TikTok, you ended up on my FYP. I want to use all the cool kid terms and lingo, right?
What's that mean?
For you page, right? Is that right?
Oh, okay. I got you.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I could be
I was
incorrect.
told I was old today.
By your
And,
students.
Yeah, because I didn't know. I can't even remember what the hashtag it was that they told me, and they were like, "Why don't you know this?" And I was, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you're old."
Oh, you're old. So
And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Savages.
not it.
But-
You guys are still older than
but
me.
That's right,
yeah.
you're the youngest one
I
at
think,
the
I think
table.
I'm the oldest one here.
But I think
So-
you may be the smartest, quite frankly, because when I listened to what you were saying on TikTok, every single time, as soon as you started speaking, first of all, I was captivated by how gorgeous you are, and I've actually stalked her about her skincare routine. She put out a video
coal
response.
runoff and the chemicals that are just like somehow worked out.
They're pickling you perfectly.
So drag that microphone
be
a little
about
closer
fist
to you,
of-
and you can twist that around. That
And
way you can
scoot in
get it
this way,
even
too.
closer.
There you go.
and
there
be
you
about
go.
a fist length
Yeah,
to the microphone.
You got to be
to-
right. You got to be right on top
And
of it.
at least you need to be right in
Yeah.
front of it too.
So
Yeah.
you're captivating in your presence, and then you start speaking, and the way you speak and the things you speak about are relevant and important. The things you speak about are timely and relevant and important, but the way you talk about them makes me smarter. And very few people that I interact with on a regular basis I walk away feeling smarter from them. And so
It's not us, by the way. Like, she's always dumber when she leaves us.
that's not
So-
true. I just want to say that's not true. So that's intriguing. Like you're not only really a beautiful to look at and listen to, but then you talk about things that are not easy topics. You don't skate around the really tough stuff, and we need more of that honesty in our media and in our social media. So personally, that's
right.
why I'm excited
That's
that
right.
you're here, right? And I know the magic that's going to happen tonight is amazing, and I might not get another word in. So I just wanted to get that out there. That this is kind of how we all landed at this table. That's spectacular. See, it's already happened.
I don't know how any of us are really going to get a word in.
And so, all right.
Welcome, Sarah. I'm glad that you're here, and I'm sorry that you
and
haven't got to
She hasn't had any kind of comment yet. So let me ask her a
It's like
question.
we're prepping. It's just they're going to let me go at any point.
I know
so-
she's going to go.
There she goes.
So you said Eastern Panhandle, right? And
Well, hold on. So I'm from Eastern Panhandle and the southern part of the state. So I was born in Cabell.
She's from everywhere
I am. And I spent
and nowhere.
1 year in Kentucky. We don't talk about
Oh, we don't talk about that here in Kentucky.
the blood,
'Cause I don't
the dark
remember.
and the dark and bloody ground.
I was
right?
like, 2 to 3, and then we moved
Yeah.
to Hedgesville. So my parents were from like Cabell. My family's from Wayne and Lincoln. Okay.
Gotcha.
And so I was born in Cabell and grew up. My grandmother was out Salt Rock. And so my parents are from that area. And then we moved to Kentucky for like a year. And then we moved to Hedgesville. And we lived there for 10 years. So I was raised in the Eastern Panhandle, which gave me access to, which is a misconception about West Virginians, that we don't have access to the outside world, or that we don't have that view of the outside world
Right.
because we are secluded. But that's to an extent sometimes by choice.
That's true.
Yeah.
And sometimes the outside world, it's a necessity. We have to travel out to work or to
Yeah.
go to school or whatever.
And our state, being, we have 5 states around us, right? And so I had access to DC and Baltimore and Maryland and Pennsylvania,
You had a
obviously
lot of
Baltimore.
culture
Yeah.
around.
I did, but then my family was down here, right?
Right.
And that was where my heart was.
Yeah.
And I spent my summers here, and I spent my
So
spring
you played
breaks
in the
down here.
creek and you did
Yeah.
all the West Virginia summer.
Well, but I didn't, because I grew up believing that doing West Virginia things
Right.
was not good.
Yeah.
And so I worked hard from the time I was little to not have an accent, because I heard how people got made fun of when they spoke. To now I'm pissed because
You wish you had more of your down home.
I don't have, like, this is, I
Right.
just, and I can get around people and I can echo back their accent, but it's not real. If
Right.
it were real, it'd be like Wayner, Lincoln,
Yeah.
Convergence, right?
Yeah.
Out Branchland somewhere,
It's a different.
4 Mile,
So I was born. My parents lived in Oak Hill, and back generations they were in Fayette County, and soon after that, when I was about 3, we moved to Beverly and then to Buchanan in Upshur County, and so
it's different.
folks up there said Appalachia,
That's what, when
right? And yeah.
I grew up here.
Yeah, I was
We
just
said
below the middle finger. there.
Leisha, and you were
Yeah.
right here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so we moved here when I was 13. My dad went back into the mine and worked at U.S. Steel, and so I kind of had an accent, but I had dropped it. Right, and whenever I get around my dad and my family,
It comes back with a full
comes,
vengeance.
It comes right back,
Yep.
and I start talking. Yeah, and so yeah, I understand that totally, and
But mine doesn't feel natural. I wish it was natural. I wish I could lean in, and I just can't. I can't let it go.
I think it gives you a different audience, though, in some ways. Like, I think it tunes people's ears to you differently.
it does. I will
People
go.
listen to you because as soon as they hear me,
That twang, a lot of people.
they automatically dismiss me.
But I don't, because it's like I have like this full circle. Because when I hear someone who speaks like that, I hear they got history, right?
yeah,
I kind of lost mine a little bit when we moved to Southern Florida. For the first 2 or 3 years, anytime I met someone, they'd be like, "Where are you from?
yeah,
Where are you from?" And then they eventually stopped asking that, right? And then when I moved back here, I saw one of my old friends, and she was like, "You don't sound like somebody that's from here." And I was like, "The hell you say?"
Now, this could be neurodiversity related as well.
yes.
Because
I was going to
us-
bring that up.
Like us having the conscious, like being able to work out the accent, but then also not being able to pick it up and it not feeling natural because it's not already there. It's something we're already thinking about. That's a
That feels
neurodiversity
forced, yeah.
because-
You're masking.
Yes, it's masking.
Yeah,
Always masking.
Yeah.
When are you not masking?
yeah.
Rick even chimes
Well,
in.
when we're pretty much all neurodiverse here, so we don't understand, right? Like most people, they have a voice that is purely theirs, and because you have had to mask your entire life, you have a perspective of I'm going to do what it is I need to do to be normal. I'm being normal now. Like me.
I'm blending in.
Norma.
Don't
Whatever
don't,
that is.
Don't point me out. I'm fine. I'm good.
I'm
Which
just
means
like
we
you.
talk in
I'm
a
just-
series of movie quotes.
I'm just like
and
you.
TikTok sounds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Thank you.
So I do want to
Thank
point
you,
out,
Livia Soprano.
I do think that you perhaps are maybe our most organized guest
I
to
know,
date.
you have notes and I have nothing.
That's
and I
terrible.
just want to like know what you want to talk
make-
about.
No,
I make
it's-
coffee.
it's
I'm
awesome.
ready. I'm ready to hear.
Well, I mean, and we kind of already talked about it a little bit. So after I had spent 10 years in the Eastern Panhandle, I moved back down here right before, like, I was in the middle of middle school. I was in 7th grade.
Tough-
And so I've
tough
been
time.
down here since, oh God, it was awful. I've been here ever since. And I did not start developing a love for here, for us, until my first year in my PhD. So I'm finishing up my dissertation now. I started my PhD in 2020, and my second semester, we took I wrote it down. That's why I wrote it down. Cultural engagement in higher education communities.
Cultural engagement in higher education communities.
Yes.
Okay.
So, the United States has a very individualistic, patriotic, whatever, type of
Persona.
culture.
Okay. Yeah.
So we're in this class, and it just so happens my professor is from Tennessee and had moved to Indiana, and is a professor at Purdue, and so she's teaching this class, and I realized, like, 2 weeks in, I have a distinctly different culture
Yeah.
than everybody in here. And we're in a class where we've got people from all over the United States, some people across the world, right? And I was just like, wow. And the first time I went to visit, because during COVID, we were on lockdown, so we didn't have group meetings.
Right.
I go once a semester for residency, and so I go to visit however many thousands of people go to Purdue, right? And she wants to show me this one room. They called it the Jedi room, actually.
Oh.
It's on the top floor
Nice.
of Beering Hall, and it's all glass windows. And she took me up there because the college I was working for at the time was launching an aviation program, and she wanted to show me that that's where they teach the pilots at Purdue to land by sight. Like, you have to find the glass windows on this building and then land right. So we walk in, and there's this kid sitting at this table. And see, this is how, like, I knew I was different. We walk in.
Is this the moment?
This is one of many. So we walk in, and I'm with my coworker, and this kid is sitting at this table, and we're like, it's COVID, like, oh, my bad. And he's like, oh no, it's cool. So we're all distanced, and she's showing us outside the windows, and my coworker and I were talking, oh man, this is really neat. And he's like, where are you guys from? And we tell him, and the kid's like, oh, I spend the summer at Joan C. Edwards Stadium every year. I was like, I'm sorry, what did you just say? And my professor looks at me, she went, out of all the thousands of people that go to school here, and we're in COVID, you found the one kid. But I was like, it's not
That
the one
knows
kid.
where you, right.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
a couple years later, when we were on our international internship, so his mom went to Marshall. It was where, and she came back and went to
Small
school for grad
world.
school.
I have a similar
He
story from law
FaceTimed.
school. Like, a friend whose mother grew up in West Virginia, and we connected in Houston, and he felt so deeply connected to me because his mom was from West Virginia,
Because we're different.
and we're different.
We went to Ireland for our international internship, and when I made a joke and I was like, you guys think I could find somebody from West Virginia here?
Yes.
Yeah, I did.
Yes.
Instantly.
We're,
People
we're
from West Virginia
everywhere.
love Ireland.
There were 3 people there I knew, so I was like, I can't cheat. And I know somebody who lives here from West Virginia, actually. And then I was on a day tour that one of my cohort members, she had upgraded. So she's like, here, just take this. And I was like, cool. So I go to Cliffs of Moher, where Star Wars was filmed. Okay. So I'm like, there, and we get on this. It was like the first time I was like a whole adult and went across, I was in another country and went across the country to go visit these amazing things. And we're sitting in a pub, and you just get sat with whoever, and there's these 2 dudes from Canada, and we're talking. And I tell him where I'm from, and we're talking. And next thing I know, this dude sits beside me. I'm sorry, did you say you were from West Virginia? Yep. He's like,
not surprised.
He said, I live in Winchester, which is Virginia, but
close.
Pretty
That's
close.
when I lived up here, I lived right on the line. Right on the line.
so close.
So, like, the gas station we would go to was literally right on the West Virginia line. Winchester was right there.
Right.
And he runs a theater group in Martinsburg, which is where... And I was like, I can't wait to tell them this.
Yeah.
But the difference is that unlike there are different cultures and communities across the United States, but our culture within Appalachia, and more specifically in West Virginia, is community mindset oriented, which is distinctly different than the individualistic mindset of those living across the United States. Now, that doesn't mean other communities or other, cultures within the United States
don't exhibit
some
community,
correct.
right?
It doesn't mean that doesn't exist, but the way culture is defined is that there has to be there's traditions, beliefs, and values, and all of those have shared meaning within that group. Doesn't mean that those, say, one tradition isn't present in another culture somewhere else, but is it collectively those same norms, those same symbols, the same meanings? Do you talk? No, you don't. Culture is the way that you are taught how to understand socially the world
How you
around
interact,
you.
right.
Yes. And we have developed our culture in this area. Unfortunately, it's been based on scarcity. It's been based on struggle. And so,
geographical isolation.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
Correct.
Because
And also because we've been, what's the word?
Marginalized.
That
Yeah.
exploited.
Exploited.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
We're the template for what they want to do to the rest of the country.
Yes.
So, I moved from Buchanan, which was a very, diverse and artistic community. And there were bookstores and all of these things, right? And when I turned 13, we moved to Pineville. Okay. And this was
The metropolis
in
of
1992. 1992.
You wouldn't have met me if you hadn't moved
And-
to the metropolis. of
Oh, hey,
Pineville.
I love it. I love it. Right now, I love it. It's home.
She was the one person he met.
And
we didn't even meet until after
Yeah.
we had graduated and moved
so,
away.
but talk about a culture shock, because this place really is geographically isolated.
Yeah.
At least it was then. We've kind of we're putting in some highways, and other folks is coming down here and riding the ATVs and all that now. But back in those days, in 1992, it was highly isolated, and so anybody that did not have that deep Southern West Virginia accent, you stuck out like a sore thumb. And not only did I stick out because A, I'm very different than most people. B, I was much different than all of these people, right? And so, talk about a culture shock. I love it here, and the sense of community is very strong in general.
But you were raised by folks who came from this place. So it wasn't
Yes.
a foreign place for you. I think that's really an important thing, that generationally, how we tell our stories and how we embody our culture,
Right.
you pick up no matter where you are to some extent.
My
which
parents
is-
being from the southern part of the state, my grandparents living there, me going, and that was like my vacation.
Did you
right?
pick berries?
Yeah.
Did you pick-
Blackberries
like
to make jam.
Right.
Those
I
are
made biscuits with my
Right.
grandma.
Yeah.
My nana, like
biscuits and
stuff like
berries.
that.
Our book needs to be called Biscuits and Berries.
Biscuits and berries.
How do you bring it back to nature? Biscuits and berries.
Yeah.
And so, like, that
Write
was-
it down.
I remember getting so excited and wanting to like come down here to like visit and be here. This is where I wanted to be, right? The state in itself is also split because the middle to northern part of the state, also scarcity, also need to survive, but for different reasons. I told my best friend this the other day. We were in Canaan, and we were driving through, and we were talking about how beautiful it was up there, and they're also very like rural.
Yeah.
Very rural.
But the perception and understanding about like other people in the rest of the state by individuals in that, not specifically that region, but in the northern part of the state, there's an assumption that, poverty is equated to morality, and that people choose to
be poor,
struggle. And it's because people up there struggled because they didn't have access to resources, which is one way to struggle, right? But then they can't fathom that the people in the southern part of the state sold their farms and were told that if you come and work in the coal mines, you're not going to have to like break your back on your farm. And then they, sold away their
right.
family wealth. And then, so up there, yes, there's quarries, yes, there's mines to an
Right.
extent, but it's not like down here. And you can, in the area, you can feel the depression differently.
And the definition of wealth, I think it's important to kind of unpack that, because there is a real divide in this state as to what wealth is, because we know in the more rural areas, if you have enough firewood and canned goods,
Enough money to pay your bills, and you don't have to like pay, like, which bill do I pay? Bingo.
You don't have to move bills or push bills. You got just enough to meet your bills each month, and you have a buddy with a tractor, somebody with some chickens. Like, how we define wealth, numbers on a computer screen are essentially irrelevant to a lot of folks.
We barter around here. Like, I've
Absolutely.
got friends we barter. I've got one friend that does social media marketing, right? And so she'll do that in exchange for services with this,
As an
beautician.
attorney, I got paid with a gun one day.
Hey,
I had to call my husband and ask if that was okay. But okay, if that's what you have, and it's if my services are equal or about that value, that's okay. That's a currency here, right? That's not as common in other areas where fiscal, money, and then the exchange of commerce is based largely on money, right? But what we're learning is as money becomes less valuable, right, as inflation happens and all these things happen, what becomes more valuable are these resources.
Goods
Knowing
and
how to make
services.
biscuits, knowing where to pick berries. I'm not going to the water thing yet because I want to stay focused on some other things, but how we value resources and define wealth is part of our culture.
It is. I think I told you guys earlier, money for me, because I grew up poor, so money for me has always been like a negative.
Scary,
it's
right.
scary, but it's also like evil,
Yeah.
But when I was in this culture class, there was a situation that happened. First, there was an activity that we did where it was kind of like everybody was at a line, but we couldn't physically be there, right? So like everybody's like online, and she gives us this line, and then she asks us a series of questions that have to do with like your personal life and like how you navigated certain things, were your parents divorced, like whatever. We get done with the activity. I was the only person still behind the line.
Oh, right. Yes. Yes,
and that
equity exercises
it was
are
an
like that.
equity
Yep,
exercise.
yep.
Now, is there bias in? Of course, but
Yes.
but there it was, and I was like, oh. And then a couple weeks later, after our ice storm here, we were in a class discussion where we were discussing how, if you've ever heard of like Hofstede and cultural dimensions, we were talking about how if a United States company wanted to go to another country, then they need to adapt to their culture, because the policies, even down to the handbook, that they're not going to make sense because, culturally, which when I approach the class, I'm thinking like, a whole other country. And I'm like, oh no, that's us too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, for sure.
So I am sitting in this class, and they're asking about, there was a scenario in regards to a company that wanted to come in, and it was going to have a bit of a detrimental impact to the community, but the company coming in was going to bring in a financial impact. And one of my cohort members, so it was posed to us like, what do you all think about this? And one of my cohort members said, well, you should just take a little bit of a cultural hit, because the financial impact to everyone would outweigh the cultural impact. And it was that day
That
I realized
I am different.
I lost it on him in that moment.
Good.
Right.
And then after I had like because there was a group activity.
Because you're an Aries, bless your heart, and you just
right? Yeah. But it was in that moment, and then I had to take a minute, and I realized he doesn't know. He doesn't get it.
Yeah.
He has never lived a life to know. And I literally said, how could you even say that? We have communities in my state where a coal company has come in and they have mined coal, and they, sell off the land, or they seal it up to the policies at that time. And then years later, I said, the water comes in and then it poisons the water. I said, we have counties that don't even clean water. And he's just like, ugh, because like he can't fathom, because in his mind, he's thinking
it's
business
a rational business bottom line.
Because he doesn't have the
concept.
experience of necessarily seeing corporations or entities as abusing people, even though he might experience that to some extent, but not with his body, not with his community. He is thinking he would take a financial impact, a financial benefit to a cultural impact, because he doesn't experience culture the way that we do.
Because the culture that we have brewed within the United States has made us love money over human lives.
Well, and this is how it happened, right? These people from other places bought these large tracts of land, and they made decisions that impacts everyone around them, and they don't realize that they are doing generational damage to the land and the people and all of this. And so those financial decisions, this is how this happens.
Well, and those costs are never factored into the bottom line, right? Like the cleanup costs and all of the,
Because
it would literally not be an equal equation.
I don't think on a mass scale that it's because they don't know the impact. I think they don't care.
Right.
So,
it doesn't factor in.
No, because that toxic individualism means, I get mine first, and then whatever happens later just happens. But when I make a decision, I would love to just think about me. But that's never been a luxury I've ever had.
Yeah.
Even before I got married and had kids.
No, it's
I
true.
was never able to just think about me. I had to think about, like, how does this decision impact not only my family, but my extended family? Is it going to hurt this person? Is it going to look bad here?
Right. Does it consume resources that other
Correct.
people need? Is it going to put me in a position
Do
that...
we have McDonald's money?
Is that what we call self-awareness?
Oh, yeah, that. And then empathy.
But
because
deep level in which this is popping in my head right now, like the reason that so many of us from here are that empathetic is that exact reason, is we have to consciously think about how we divvy up resources. Time, money, food, water, fuel. We had to manage our trips to and from town because town was a long way away, right? So we are kind of ingrained with that. Oh my God, I'm learning from your dissertation right now. Like as we speak, it's happening. I'm like, I love smart people who make me smarter. There she is right here. So yes, I see how all of these things make us vulnerable. Mm-hmm. These strengths that make us so strong within this area and give us the ability to survive just about anywhere on the damn planet make us extremely vulnerable in capitalist systems because we're empathetic. We care about the scarcity of resources. We adapt around that and aren't just get it while you can, as much as you can, and screw the next guy, right?
Well, we understand that there are consequences to using too much firewood right now and running out before warm weather hits.
You don't need it to be 90 degrees in here.
Right.
You need it to be 65.
Well,
right?
and then
Put a coat on.
Yeah.
Put a coat on.
Yeah.
Where's your sweater, son?
yeah.
Get one of these quilts.
But I digress.
And warm up,
Thank you for this work. And so where are you now in this?
I have to write 2 research articles, and then it's like a 5-chapter dissertation. So I'm still like fine-tuning that first article. I'm supposed to push it out for publishing, and it's about strategic planning and understanding culture, because can you really
No ma'am
strategically plan if you don't understand the people that you're serving, the resources available, or how those people interpret the things you do and say? And so say you work in higher education, for example, and all of the administration comes from out of state, and then they come in and then they can't understand how to navigate the
Hunting
legislature
season and ram season.
or the fact that right?
Right.
Or the fact that they have people who maybe can't come to class regularly, and then their assumption is this person is lazy because that has been the stereotype perpetuated, except for this person is taking care of a parent with an addict, or a parent who's an addict, and then siblings, right?
Yes.
I don't think for the majority of West Virginians, anybody going to college should be considered a traditional student, because even at 18, they are going to have extra responsibilities and things on them that people in greater United States do not have. Not everybody, but
I feel that because, okay, when I was in college, we had to work and, pay our bills.
Yes.
So we had to take a full load to get our grants or our loans or whatever. But it was tough to work a full load and also work to pay your bills at the same time.
Yeah.
And there were some people who had the luxury of not having to work. And it was frustrating because I was always working every weekend.
I will tell you, I do feel like it's to their detriment. Because
I learned a whole lot of skills
Correct.
by waiting tables and bartending all through college.
I learned a whole lot
I
of
managed
people.
a fast food restaurant right on Virginia Tech's campus. And when Michael Vick rolled through in his white Escalade and his 2 bodyguards talking shit to my cashier, and I refused him service that night, that was one of my proudest
for you.
moments. Was, look at you, I'm here at 2:00 in the morning busting my ass with a $40,000 academic scholarship, which just offset the cost between in-state and out-of-state for me.
Yep.
So I still had to make that up. And if I wanted extra money, I had to go work. But I like to work because I'm from West Virginia.
Yeah.
And that's what we tell ourselves to get through the day.
That's right. Like, I like to do this madness. But
And
when
then you
you
hit
come
burnout.
through
Yeah.
with your entitled ass, expecting to be treated like a king, talking shit to people, making them feel bad about themselves, I got no use for you. And you're doing it in a vehicle that my tuition money's paying for,
Right.
with bodyguards that my money's paying for.
Yeah.
Unacceptable.
Anybody
And
that talks to service personnel shitty is a
Garbage.
shitty person.
Garbage.
I don't care who you are.
I agree.
and have
That's just
probably
my
not
opinion.
worked in food service.
Thank you for letting me get
Yeah.
on.
And that's the
That's it.
and
I've been in food service.
Yeah, but you were
ladies
fabulous.
ladies
No.
and gentlemen, let me give you a tip here. Okay, if you are on a date, okay, with a person and they are rude to the wait staff or the bartender or somebody,
Red flag.
that is
And
the
they don't
biggest.
tip?
That is the biggest red flag that you can get. And that will tell you exactly who they are. Okay. So
Even if they're not rude and they're just critical, or they kind of hem and haw about the tip, I am such a generous tipper because, oh my God, thank you. If you've done anything for me, even if there are mistakes, you're working your tail off for $2.10 an hour.
It's 213 and it hasn't changed since I waited tables 25 years ago.
I'm at least
it's-
a 25%er.
Absolutely.
And
it's
whatever I can give, I give.
appalling. It's appalling what they make and what they put up with and how good they are at what they do. Because if you've never done it, you have no idea the skill it takes to be a good server. So again, I digress. Back to your
Yeah.
PhD.
Well, I think I seriously. So I've worked all kinds of jobs. I've worked all kinds of jobs. Because of that, I've had to put myself in a position to think about what other people's lives are like.
There you go.
Okay.
Right.
And that's where empathy comes from.
Yes.
But entitlement or things like that, like the toxic individualism, it's the lack of empathy because they have never either pushed themselves to think about what it's like to be in someone else's situation, or they quite literally have never had the experience of anything outside of that. And I feel a heavy frustration. Like, we are right. All the stuff that you all make fun of about West Virginia. That's the whole reason I started my TikTok. I mean, initially I got on there so that I could binge watch TikToks
Don't we
during
all?
COVID. I mean, it's just like, what else am I going to do? So I that's what I didn't make my first video until I think the end of beginning of 2021, I think. And
Were you always the oracle?
yeah.
From the beginning. I like them.
No, I think I was user blah 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 blah, right? And
until you made the oracle.
So the oracle so the oracle is play on the Matrix.
yeah.
And so my husband calls me the oracle because he says that I
Are profoundly wise.
in the movie, right? So the oracle is part of the matrix, but also tells him how to bust out of it, because the oracle is the balance. The oracle is both. It needs to be the system, and it needs to be the one outside the system, right? That's what I feel like, because I've got one foot in the system in the sense of I understand the oppression, the subjugation that has happened to the people of the state, my family, my ancestors. But then, because of my experiences and the cultural experiences I had growing up, and I've always been someone to travel. I'll just get in the car and I'll go somewhere. I will have experiences like, all over the place, because it's just fun. To me, that's how I learn, right? That's how I learn.
Experiential learning is...
And what is wild is that there is so much stereotyping, which we know this, so much stereotyping towards us, but we are far more... much more of a valuable resource outside in their world than they will ever be in ours. And then yet we have been convinced, right? Because here you guys are like fighting with this water stuff, and then I understand having to fight people that are on the inside, people that you want to help, and you're having to recruit them because you may not look like them or sound like them, and they have been harmed for a considerable amount of time. They don't trust anybody, right? So you've got that, and that's frustrating. But then you've got the people on the outside who have a vested interest in keeping people from their truth and understanding how they're experiencing reality.
How powerful they are, right?
And that is intentional. And how that happens is, and going through like this class and this program helped me realize there were things. The reason I didn't do the West Virginia things is because I was taught that made me somehow less valuable. For who?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For who? Who
I always
am
said
I
that
to be
I had to
valuable
go out
to?
being a better hillbilly. Like I thought I had to go out and be a better hillbilly,
So
like
that
and
I could,
show
like,
that
I could like be like, look, I'm not like the rest of
Right.
them.
I'm educated.
Yeah.
I'm not like the rest.
I'm so glad to hear you
And then
talking about this, because
Then
the
I got
guilt,
educated, and they're like, uh-oh,
there ain't nothing
Shit.
take it back.
nothing quite as dangerous as an educated hillbilly. And I have said that multiple times in my career, that like people look at me, and my girlfriend Jamie in Texas always said that. She's like, I love how people underestimate you because of how you sound and because of how you look.
Puts us in a great position.
Absolutely.
To
I
kick
really
some
do
ass.
like being underestimated.
Oh, I do.
And
It's so fun.
But then again, it's
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 annoying.
infuriating.
Same
Well, the
time.
older you get as a woman, I think too, you recognize that space gets old. And as you mature, right, like it gets to the point where you just give the look like, really? Oh, I've never heard
This
that
again?
before, right? Exactly,
Yeah.
like that's old,
Okay.
right? And it's a new day. It's a new conversation across the board on every level. So I am thrilled to see some educated hillbillies leading a conversation about being perceiving ourselves, changing our perception of ourselves
Yes.
as we step into knowledge
Yes.
and cultural understanding and education about ourselves.
That's what I had to do. Sitting in that class and then realizing I had a mental breakdown because this person tried to say that money would outweigh the negative impact to a group of people, and I was like,
Right.
then I was like, oh, yeah, no. And so then I have spent like these last few years really just, but for even before then though, like if you were to talk to my husband and my kids, we would go on vacations outside of the state, but we spent the majority of our summers traveling to like cool ass places here.
There's so many.
Oh, there are.
We do that.
because because
You
I
guys
still
really
love
do
this
that, and I
place.
love that about you. Like you highlight places I've never been and never been to, and so like watching you explore those places that are like an hour and a half, 2 hours away from where I live, I'm like, oh,
Look, we just
go
need
there.
a hotel with a swimming pool
this
and
kid-
somewhere cool to look at,
Yeah.
and we're good.
you know,
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that like a
And
lot of people? Like,
so-
That's it. That's all we need.
My dad taught me a very valuable lesson, and whether he meant to or not, we lived in South Florida for a while, and we lived in this little town called Lakeport on Lake Okeechobee, and it was largely snowbirds, older snowbirds. And for those of you who don't know what a snowbird is, they, when the snow starts flying, they go south, right? And so my dad was a retired coal miner, and he was, kind of young for the crowd there. And so he would do little odd jobs to help people out. And one of the big things that he did was he would work on AC and heat units because they would inevitably go out, and then they would show up from wherever they were up north, and all of a sudden their heat or their air is not working. So and he got a good kind of name for doing that. And so whenever we would show up to these new people's houses, my dad would put the most hillbilly accent on, and he'd be like, "Howdy, ma'am, I'm Tom. I'm here to look at your AC, and we're gonna see a little bit about what we can do for it."
He'd
Okay,
say stuff like, "We'll just take a look at it and see
we'll
what
take a
we
look
can
at
do."
it, and
Down home.
and so these people, and you could see it in
You
their
can
eyes.
put it in the trash.
You could see it in their eyes. They're like, "Oh my God, this hillbilly is going to work on my AC unit, and I don't know whether he's going to make it better or not." And it was
he
like
insured?
panic, right? It was panic.
Like, what are we gonna?
And she's like,
What's your dad
and
gonna
they're
do?
like, are you sure? Like,
Were they worried he was gonna turn their AC unit into a bomb?
Right,
Like what?
Yeah. Like,
He's gonna
and-
Blair Mountain this bitch.
Right.
Or charge him a bunch of money and not fix it at all.
Not fix it
right?
at all. And so we would go in there, and my dad is a genius with any of this kind of stuff.
Imagine
that. Where I can do this kinds of things, my dad can work on machinery, right? That's where I get it. And so he would go in there and he'd figure out exactly what was wrong. And in general, he would have a part in his truck that would fix it. And he would have them up and running in about 30, 45 minutes.
Mind's blown.
And then he would go over to them and say, "Okay, ma'am, now what happened here? Your condenser was not working." And so you were lucky. I had one
Here,
in my
bud.
truck.
Here. Thank you. Here, give it all to me. I'll put it in the trash for you. Thank you
Okay.
so very much. You're
Thank
the
you,
best.
Rick.
Love Dairy Queen.
So
Yeah.
good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, man. And so he would go into exactly what he had and how he fixed it. And then he would charge them a little bit of nothing to fix it. Mm-hmm. And they would be slack-jawed.
Mm-hmm. I bet he
And
got gifts.
They
I bet he
loved
had
him.
like,
Oh, absolutely. Invited to
absolutely.
dinner.
Eating
Left
good
Oh, yeah.
desserts
Yeah.
all the time. I did that with him for a little while. He would do, "It's right here, honey."
He's coming back around. Got it.
There you go, buddy.
Here, Rick. Thank you.
All right.
But we would mow
Rick al-
grass and
Rick
fix
always has
AC
a-
units.
Has Rick always has
Cameo
a cameo in every
appearance.
Yeah.
in
I know.
every podcast.
He's got to
She's like, "I
put
know
his
I
stuff
watched."
in
You
the
act like I
trash.
don't watch them.
Yeah. So yeah.
We didn't know anybody watched.
So, as an attorney,
Why are you doing this?
I don't really know.
As your
We're just-
strategist, I would tell you to maybe think of other things. If
We
you
don't-
don't know if people are watching this, where are your analytics?
Listen, if you tell me that 1 million people's watching, I'm just going to freeze. I have to tell myself.
she has to believe nobody's
This is probably a
watching.
bad time to tell you that I was at work today and someone I know who knows you guys and watches your show was like, "Hey, guess what? I'm going to be an Appalachian living." "Oh my God, you are? You have to go look up this survey that they did for West Virginia and about all of this stuff politically so that you can get prepared for whatever questions they ask you." I was like, "Bet."
Oh my God, tell them thank you for listening and I'll send a sticker with you.
Judith.
Yeah.
Thank you, Judith. I'll send a sticker.
Yeah. But Lindsay will
Ricky needs to put his French fry things in the trash.
go ahead, buddy.
Put it in the
It's right
trash,
over there.
baby.
I'm actually jealous that he had DQ fries.
Well,
They're really
Listen,
great
if
fries.
you don't bring him something to
I got
eat,
the message that it was me or Tom. Whoever got here first had to bring DQ, or
there will be
You have to
hell
let me
to pay.
know. I mean, you got to let me know.
I
I've
say
got
that all
a
the
few
time.
more-
I'm like, "Oh, I'll go."
I've got a few more options
French
that's
fries and a
right.
milkshake.
on my way in.
He's pretty easy
Thank
to please,
you.
actually.
TAJNKYOU.
If you,
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome, buddy.
YOURWELCOME.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Yes, you're welcome.
Fritz.
His hair. I wish I had Rick's hair.
it's awesome.
all right.
You want to go lay down? Or you want to?
For a lot of us, how we talk to people too is like you want to keep going?
Yeah, keep going. He's gonna.
Okay. How we talk to people too is kind of how we frame who we are in their life. Like if you do work where you have to kind of cold call people or whatever, like I've learned how to talk to people in that down home way, and I guess it's what do you call it, code switching or whatever, but it doesn't feel like that to me. It just feels like meeting them where they are. Because
I think
when
it's
you're an
being
attorney,
adaptable to people. Because I'm the type of person is that I just kind of mirror you and your energy. So if you walk in and you're down and you don't talk and everything, and if I'm like, hey, how you doing, and you don't give me anything back, I'm gonna be like, heard, and then I'm gonna give you the same thing back.
That's neurodivergent.
Yep.
Well,
Because that's like
whatever it
what,
is,
but I
that's
feel
who
like
I
that's
am.
it is. But there's also the same traits like in neurodivergence that will also be present for like PTSD, for example.
Probably
And
that too.
well, but how many people in the state, right? So I'm saying like we even in our community engagement, we're always like, how does this ping pong off this person? And yeah, sometimes it is masking, but sometimes when you get in a situation,
that
you have
really
to be different to deliver information to that individual. And so that's why, like, to me, TikTok's been a bit of a journey, because how am I going to do a video where all of these people who see it are going to be able to interpret the message that I am sending? So it's wild that I appreciate what you said.
oh,
Like
you're
it's
landing. You're landing
wild
exactly
that
where you need
said
to.
that
Yeah.
because first of all, growing up, I was never smart. That was not like that was not a plan.
You
Like,
just are.
for the majority of time. Like for the majority of my life, I've not been like smart like considered
Or
smart.
you felt smart, right?
Nobody, I don't know. Like I didn't feel smart because I was like, why do I see things differently than everyone else?
Right.
Like they don't see it the same way. I'm like,
You
all
aren't
right, I'm messed up.
conventionally reinforced.
I am messed up, right? Until I got to college, and then I got through my associate, my bachelor's degree, and I was like, eh. And then went back for my master's, and I was like, oh, well, maybe I just like to learn. I could be like an eternal student, right? I think I just for everyone, I was diagnosed with autism in 2022. I was diagnosed with ADHD in 2020. A lot of people who are autistic have a bottom up perspective instead of a top down perspective. Top down perspectives are also, from what I have read, a lot of times with neurotypical people, but then also like I would perceive, and this is not research, but this is like people who are elitist or people who believe in hierarchy, top down, because then that way, like if you're looking top down for like, say your aerial shot, you're a helicopter, you're looking down. If the person on the ground needs the help, you're not going to be able to see from that perspective what they need. So then you would need for them to tell you whether on a walk to whatever, right?
Yes.
That is the same issue with West Virginia, people with their hierarchy, their perspectives. I can't give like necessarily like a template for like how I've navigated this space other than I don't believe in hierarchy, like really at all. I don't think people are better than other people. I just don't. I don't care how much money somebody having money doesn't make them better.
Right.
Sometimes it makes them worse.
Sometimes they just had enough money to like mess up real bad a lot and not have to face the consequences. Poor people don't have enough money to make bad decisions with.
That's exactly right.
Okay, Dave Ramsey, we can't save up enough coffee cups to like pay a mortgage,
And
right?
when you think of scale of purchasing too, things like Sam's Club, if you have $45 to get a 6 month supply of something
and every
versus
time you
buying
get a
it
step up the ladder
independently,
here, there's always it. I learned this at a younger age because I had to pay for my own car, my insurance, and a phone while I was still in high school. I was working 3 jobs my senior year in high school. I started working at 14, and so like I learned every rung that I climbed on said ladder came with a whole other slew of more like something I had to pay for or like another thing to navigate.
Taxes, registration, insurance, fees.
Like at one of my
registration fees.
previous jobs, I heard my coworkers were talking like, and they were kind of criticizing someone who they were like, "Man, you can't even get a driver's license." And I was like, have you thought about how difficult it would be to get a driver's license? Say if you just got out of rehab and you were
Nearly
living in
impossible.
shared housing. And they
You
were
don't
like,
have a
"What do you mean?"
utility
I said,
bill? You don't have proof
where's
of
your
residence?
utility bill with the address on it? Where is your other proof? Like, I mean, some of these people might be lucky. What if
If you don't have a car, you don't
what
have
if they
proof
came
of
out of foster
insurance.
care and they don't have any of their stuff, right?
No birth certificate
Right?
or anything
Nothing.
like that.
Okay.
yeah.
So then, all right. So they don't have those things. But if they don't have a driver's license, they likely don't have a car. So then the bustling public transportation of West Virginia, how are they going to...
Right.
Huh? And then and then I get people on TikTok when, they tell us that we vote against our best interests. And yet we had a governor here who
switched parties,
supported by the DNC, and then switched parties. So like,
and got reelected.
Y'all want to tell us to vote? Right? You're voting against your best interest, and we're like, what interest? What interest?
Oh my God!
It's so cute. But here's the thing. When they say that, I know it means you're voting against my best interest.
Tell me you don't know a fucking thing without telling me you don't know a fucking thing.
And tell me you're an elitist. Because, like, to me, you asked me a question, red team, blue team look quite a lot alike.
Here, there's no difference.
No, but that we are the canary in the cave, y'all. Okay? So if they don't look any different here, they're not different.
They're not.
Mm-hmm. Tell me what, designated wise, like, what are Republican, like, perspectives, what are Democrat no, like they're intermingled, they're intertwined. There's no and it's not conservative and liberal. Those are ways to approach policy. You can be conservative and liberal on the same policy.
Absolutely.
Right? Because conservative means to slow progress, and then liberal means to progress, move forward progress. Well, there are times when conservatism whatever, I mean, I just George W. that maybe.
I love it.
We'll be okay.
We know what you mean.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
Cool. So for example, I don't hate mining. I just want it to be done to where it doesn't hurt people, right? Well,
that's right.
If we have energy, like clean energy, which I'm down for, I drive a hybrid.
It's another option in us, right? If we're having a free market, why not have all options?
Well, because in a market where there's hierarchy and people don't give a damn about other people, I'm like, okay, well, if we want to do that, well, where's the scaffold? Because I want to make sure that our coal miners here are taken care of because they've worked to keep the lights on in America. Mm-hmm. And then how are we going to help to, retrain them and make sure that they don't lose their houses in the process of a transition of not being so heavy on one resource and then also jumping into another. But we don't do that because the relation of extremes in regards. And so like, that's when I get in arguments with people who are like, oh, but blue, vote blue because that better. No, it's not. Because some of these
blue forever.
We were blue for the majority of our states.
All the way up until about 20 years ago.
Yeah. And then on top of that, policies that exist. Well, and if you can only make policy or make strides when you are in power, you're not that powerful.
Totally agree. And one party has been in charge for almost 20 years now, and everything is worse. I mean, by every matrix, everything is worse. Every policy that 15 years ago was supposed to save the day has borne out to not be the case.
Because they don't know how to live like us.
They don't know how to live like us, and they don't know how to acknowledge the culture. This is a tale of two states. Greenbrier County is a tale of two counties. Mm-hmm. Even within counties in this state, you've got wealthy parts of the county, you've got less wealthy parts of the county. Yep. Summers County. I live in Raleigh County. I live in no man's land in Raleigh County. My kid goes to Summers County schools, right? I pay Raleigh County taxes into a school system I don't use. I use a school system I don't pay taxes into, right? Like there are just all of these weird things about where we live that make it unique. And the people running the show, again, the most political I've gotten on this podcast is to say, we see the people who have been placed here to do a very specific thing. These are not people who have come from these counties and these communities up into these elected spaces.
That's why they're not successful.
That's why they're not successful for us, but they are successful for the agendas that they're here to promote.
Yeah, because they don't have to care about the people here because they don't.
And when you're distressed and when you're in constant trauma and in constant survival mode, it's really easy to control and manipulate how you feel and think about things. And part of this podcast is peeling that back and saying, we see it, we're in it, we know it. We're not going to sit here and be like, well, we do. What can we do? What can we do?
We can't do anything. They're not going to change.
Bullshit. So what do we do?
What are you going to do?
Sarah?
You gonna roll over and die like they want you to?
No, I want to celebrate like where we live and where we come from. But we have to if we want people to accept change and help and trust it, then we have to get them to first see that they are part of a culture, to value it, so that then they can see a culture that is valuable, so that they can then decide, oh, wait, I am valuable. You're not going to hold the overlord accountable. You're not going to get that boot off your neck if you are convinced that it deserves to be there. And so I have tried to
thank them for putting the boot on your neck.
It's an opportunity. It doesn't matter what impacts your culture.
Give them the opportunity.
Yeah, here's some script. Eat it.
Right.
Right.
And you can barely get by.
Here's a
you'll
good
die
paying
at
job for about
55.
a year.
Yeah.
And then you'll have to sell all the shit
Should
that
be
you
so
just
thankful.
bought.
It could be better than, unaliving.
Here's the thing. Here's something that I want to say. And I probably said it before. I know I've said it before. This is coal country, right? We just had how many men laid off?
Hundreds.
It is not as consistent or reliable. It is, it's
never been
not.
stable.
It never has been a stable economy. We all know
Because it's
that.
tied to a global economy that is, we can't manage that from here.
I think
the-
they
why?
cycle it on purpose because these coal companies own multiple places in multiple
Yes.
states. So if they cycle it, they put people here in enough scarcity that when they come back, they can pay them less than they did before or offer them less benefits than they did before. And it will force those people to willingly put a boot on their neck because it's either that or in the dirt.
And they will defend
Preach.
that. They will defend that to the death
Because what else
they're
do they have?
thankful.
But what
Right.
other option do they have?
Exactly.
I can't help them being thankful for a lifeline that might have a hole in it.
Yeah.
But the truth is what other lifeline is coming down the pipe? None, because our state legislature has been lobbied to maintain a mono economy for their benefit.
Along with the national folks that represent us.
And we see that in every agency because as we're seeing these data center hearings and these hearings with these where they solicit public input and the public input is overwhelmingly negative and they go ahead with the permit anyway.
Yeah.
Time after time after time.
And look at the areas that they're placing them.
Right.
Where are they placing them?
Yeah.
They're placing in Logan-ish area and then up towards Canaan. Where did another rural area, right? They don't give a damn about those people there. So they're plopping it up in a place that is desperate for work. See where they are doing this intentionally. On top of that, I suspect this is for some like rare mineral extraction in addition to that.
Oh, yeah. That's
and
what's going on here in this county.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Along with all of the coal bed methane, carbon credit racket, right? Yeah.
And you hear like these robo responses like to your videos when you'll post stuff and they're like, that's a natural occurring process. Well, so are acid lakes from volcanoes, but that doesn't mean I want it in my drinking water.
Vote blue.
well, it reminds me during the chemical.
There's two sides to that.
the
right?
Elk
Stop
River.
voting against
Because
your
voting
interests.
because voting blue will take the chemicals out of the creek.
yeah.
That's the same mentality as holding up the multivitamins and reading out selenium and cadmium and all these things that are in multivitamins as an excuse in the West Virginia legislature for why these chemicals are in our water.
I'll take him some water.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need a hazmat suit.
And it blows my mind that we get that two-pronged negative approach to these videos, right? You get vote blue, you vote against your own interests all the time, and two, everything is fine.
Oh, dude, we get it from every angle.
Well,
I got
but it's-
everybody hating on
Okay.
me.
Well, it's
Where's
a
your
good-
hat, by the
But
way?
it's a good thing. Well, she wanted her hair out this time.
I'm growing my hair out because
She wanted everybody to
apparently
know
I
that
need to
hers-
show people that I'm
It's not
hillbilly
blue.
enough.
It's not blue.
It's not blue, so
But
maybe
mine
you
is.
can pay attention to
Just
me.
a little bit on top.
Just a little green tinge on the top.
A little bit
Yeah.
on top.
That's not enough.
That when you have people respond that way, which is why I take every opportunity I can when I get some person in my comments so audacious with their ignorance.
Judgment and ignorance.
Yes.
Yes.
It's cognitive dissonance. So when they
Yes.
push back like that,
It's really emotional, like
then
over somebody's hair,
yeah,
bro.
but it's because
Like-
you were telling that individual that the water might have something in it, and then that immediately shuts down their reality. So when you challenge, which means you got somewhere. So that's when somebody when somebody comments
Right.
under my TikTok, and of course that's how they found me, just popping off on people. I've got like 10,000 followers of just me like yelling at people.
That's the only way.
I
that,
did yell at somebody that one day. Oh man, I went off. But that I use those opportunities. That person I'm responding to is not my target audience.
Exactly.
They're the example.
Exactly.
They're the example. Don't come to this page and talk like that about the people here. Don't disrespect them because you're disrespecting me when
But
you
now
say
that you
that.
have, click away, baby. Click away.
And now that you have, we're going to make an example of you.
Yes.
Like the buddy who jumped in my comment section not too long ago telling me everywhere had cell service and Wi-Fi access.
Are you
In
on
West Virginia.
That's the funniest thing I ever heard in my life.
Oh, it was adorable. Until
Have
I
him
find
come
in the
to- have him
back
come
of one
here.
of his videos.
I
and
mean,
he's like,
even
I
the
live in a holler.
maps, even the maps in the cell phone stores show areas that don't have.
He's like, I live in a holler.
That's where I live.
In the
Right
back
there.
of one of his videos was a 2-lane road with lines on it. You don't live in no holler.
Yeah.
If there are lines on your road,
You ain't
Yeah.
in a holler.
you've got guardrails keeping you from the Ohio
You have
River.
guardrails?
You are not in a holler.
Don't
sir.
even talk to
Precious.
me. Don't even talk to me.
I don't care what type of accent I do or don't have.
I have guardrails, but I still don't have cell service.
You don't fully have guardrails. There's like holes in those.
It's a guardrail.
Well, I mean, like, no, those are
Ish.
so. Oh God, ask Brandy about that. See, I am tired of just having you like random knowledge that doesn't like necessarily like fit like Legos. Like,
fits
why do
right
I,
here,
why do I know
baby.
this?
Put it in.
I don't know.
I have a ton of that.
I think,
so
yeah,
it's
useless
okay.
knowledge. It's so
Yeah.
fun. I think BuzzFeed did an article on this like years ago or something. They changed the guardrails because of the way that the ends were curled up. When you would hit them, the ends would ricochet and like slice through vehicles. Y'all got the old ones.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
The new ones are flatter on the ends and then curve back so that when people
Trying to
hit it,
kill
it
us with our
absorbs.
do you know what we had before that?
Not any guardrails.
It was a guardrail, but it was like a.
It's probably ones with the post.
It was a.
And
It was a
and a line
stone. It
string.
was a stone post, and
Oh,
the
that's-
the rail part was like metal mesh.
Like fishing line. Just braided together.
Right.
You could probably dig some of it up over there.
Yeah.
Still,
You know, my ancestors' German last name was Quarter because we made cords. We probably just made like, we're going to fish and line this out and we're going to keep everybody over here. Ain't going to work. Ain't going to work. No, yeah.
Are you
ones
the
like-
good fences, good neighbors?
Right.
People?
Or I love the guardrails that look like that rope you swing on a swing with. Like the metal.
Oh, right, like the
that's just
sea-
to catch
sea
your
rope.
car from going down.
I'm like, am I just going to do one of these?
That's like double dutch.
I'm like, that ain't doing nothing.
Double Dutch. Yeah.
And like, I was all over these roads on my way. I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like driving on. I'm like, it's been a while. But people don't know how to drive out here
So
either.
you talk random knowledge. The governor who Cecil Underwood
Oh, okay, different one.
was a kid in school for High Y for the youth in government stuff. And one of their proposed bills was to put the white and yellow lines, not yellow lines, white lines on the side of the rural roads. When he was a student in high school, he did this as part of youth in government. It became a bill because that was part of the process. If you had good bills, they actually introduced them in the legislature. That became a law, and then he became governor later. Like, that's just one of those random.
That's crazy.
We learned that in youth and government because I did the program, and like they were like, this is an example of you as student legislators can create legislation that can actually become legislation, like Governor Underwood
Those white
did.
lines are very helpful
They're
to my
so
old ass
helpful.
eyes.
They're very
Really like
it's
it.
a safety issue, and it made a lot of sense on these rural back roads. Like if you have a lined road, when those bright lights hit you, you look
Stare
at
at
that
the
white
line.
line.
Yeah.
Also,
That
some
keeps
of
you
us
on the
just
road.
like we just stay in between the white ones. The
Right.
yellow one's like a option.
That's a negotiable.
Hey,
Don't
Yeah,
do
we
that.
But I'm from here.
Don't do that.
And don't you slow your roll. I know I'm on your side of the road when you see me, but I'll be on mine by the time you get to me.
Yeah.
So just
Right.
calm
we don't
down.
get
right?
upset about it. We just get out
Get
of the
on
way.
your side of the road.
Yeah. Listen,
I'm
when you
gonna
come
do
around
it.
one of them kiss your ass curves, there ain't a choice.
No, and if you're going too fast, you got to take up whatever lane you got to take up
Especially
to
if
keep
your
it under
car ain't
control.
made for that. We need whippy cars around
I'm
here.
going to do a time check.
That's-
I got like 20 minutes.
That's why I've got the.
722.
That's why I've got the WRX. Okay, so I can cut the roads. Okay, that's it, and it's 4-wheel drive. It's a Subaru, so snow, rain, sleet, hail. Right?
Because we have all of those, and sometimes in one day.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Like, and I think I saw the weather prediction, and I was like, "Oh my god!" it's literally split the United States in half is what the prediction is, and up top's going to be like terrible, like supposed
Miserable.
to be storms, and down below is supposed to be hot. But
Where are we?
We're in the middle, which is
Where
supposed to be the worst.
The bad spot right in the middle.
Are we always?
Yeah.
In one way or another.
Yeah. Apparently, like, and I don't want to.
Tight spot.
Well, I don't want to experience like this last winter was terrible. So, all of the floods and everything. And I live an hour and 15 minutes away from where I work. So I live in the southern part of the state, but I work even farther in the southern part of the state. And to see like these people, like our students and the people I work with, like have like their entire lives washed away, knowing good and well that some of these floods would not have been in existence if it were not for the lack of understanding or awareness that companies have had. And
I think that's generous.
yeah.
I was.
Yeah.
So,
well put, but generous.
talking about that, I was in a meeting not too long ago, and should I not say that? Should I not tell this story?
We don't edit you around here.
Babe,
Okay.
you say whatever you want.
Well,
but if you talk about it,
she gave me the tap, like,
Listen.
You
say that at your own risk, because
All right.
once you start talking about it,
Well, I'm just going to say, I'm not going to say what meeting I was in, okay? I was in a government meeting, right? Because I
Government.
volunteer. I'm a volunteer for a
so
lot
anyway,
of things.
this woman at this meeting,
So
It's about to get good.
we were talking. We were talking about the floods, right? And the fact that they had they had raised the flood zones all around the county. And so more and more people were going to have to get flood insurance. And what was not a flood zone, right, would soon be, flood zone. And they raised it by 3 or 4 feet. And I mentioned that, there was an awful lot of mountaintop removal. And we're also congruently building highways.
Literally a quarter mile, there's a huge road cut right up the road here.
And the lady looked at me and said, mountaintop removal is good for flooding.
What?
Is the good in the room with us right now?
And she said, the trees that they plant in revitalization will absorb more water
in 50 fucking years.
than
Sorry.
and it would be it's better for flooding when
Based
this
on
happens.
what?
Bullshit. That's
I mean,
bullshit.
I'm not a dirtologist. Okay. But if you have like topped off a mountain
You have a
and then the sun
sponge.
is like beaten down on it, and then you got like all this weather beaten down on it, it's gonna like rip the shit out of that soil and you can't plant shit on it. So then what trees and what
And if it's an active mine, it's currently
not
being
gonna
ripped
be,
apart.
exactly.
And when you have a giant parking lot on top of a mountain, of course that is going to change the way the water moves. It just
When we talk about
pours
mountaintop removal, we
off the
say,
sides.
think
Right.
about
Plate.
pouring water onto a plant that is well established or a hillside or whatever, and then pour it on the table.
yeah.
And it's going to flow in the path of least resistance on the table, but it's going to flow in the channels it's always flowed in the way the water's traveled before. How
And also
How
the
do you
roots
not
suck up
think
some
that's-
water. They absorb water.
500 gallons for a full-grown tree.
I mean,
But that's
a
an
day.
example of the
Cognitive dissonance.
cognitive dissonance.
and that's the type of
of the
culture
folks.
that we
and
deal
So
with
how do we-
around here.
I could see that was the company line.
Yes.
Someone with an energy company
Mm-hmm.
told this to this lady, and she vehemently defended it.
do you know why? Hope.
Yeah.
She wants it to be
She
true.
wants to
Wants
believe
that
that
to-
it's
yeah.
true that
Because-
what is happening here is
because
actually
if it's
good.
not
Yeah.
it is harder to wrestle, especially from
understand
here.
that.
It is harder to wrestle with the fact that you have been lied to your entire life and that you have perpetuated that lie that now might be linked to harming a group of people. But I'll tell you right now, it is far better to do that than to continue to live in your ignorance, because that hurts worse.
At some point, you're going to have to face it. And it's tough.
It's gonna
Trust
make you
me.
face it.
I know it's tough. Look,
But-
I come from here. I'm a coal miner's daughter, granddaughter, niece,
And
everything.
we don't have to have this like binary thinking that it's got to be this or it has to be
Or
the
that.
extreme of this.
Right. But it does have to be non-poisonous versus
Habitable.
poisonous.
It has to be habitable
Right.
to be
Habitable.
here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like not to get flooded every time there's a major thunderstorm. Because
So how do we rewrite this cultural narrative? Like, is your PhD work kind of, are you,
It's in higher ed. Like, so, I mean, that's the focus, but I'm an educator.
Right.
Right. So my PhD is in education. So that's like, which is wild when I heard you like say this at the beginning, you know, about how you perceive when I talk to people. The whole point of sharing is to like share knowledge, right? I grew up not thinking I was smart, so I was desperate for it. So that's another resource scarcity that we have is
Yes.
knowledge.
Yes.
You know, people want to like, oh, just go Google. You know, Googling is a skill. And I don't mean just by typing it into the search bar.
discerning what you get from that
And
search?
yes, what words are you putting in? That is a skill. I mean, I'm a researcher. That's what I do. And so
Yes.
I don't want my words to necessarily be like wasted. I know that I can just say fluff. And I'm not saying everything that I say on TikTok is valuable, but
You have limited fluff.
I want it to be relatable, and I want it to, because the whole purpose of making those videos is to create community.
Yes.
It has, the whole point of that
Yes.
TikTok was to create community. The whole point was to acknowledge issues that I have mentally struggled with the entire time I have lived in this state. I'm a registered independent. I have been my entire life. I've had problems with both political parties.
And you're not the only one.
No. And being able to talk about that. And what's wild is that it has been a space where I have red followers and I have blue followers. And when I talk about the things that we struggle with here specifically,
There are no colors.
they all, yes, they all respond.
Yes.
Yes, this. I mean, like, that person that commented we had cell service got eaten alive. Like, still,
You
I
can't
still
say that around here. I mean,
I just want
people
to put
know
a
for
warning.
fact.
Yeah, don't step in it unless you're ready.
Yeah, unless you really know.
You need to be prepared for the conversation and the education you're going to receive if you come at any of the people at this table with anything, because and if you want to come and have a conversation, come with respect.
Yeah.
Because you've heard every one of us sitting here saying the purpose of what we're doing is to educate and build community, to create a space to say things that we haven't had a space like this to reach as many people as we can with honest conversations. So when you come with respect and wanting to grow and learn, we're going to eat that up too in a really positive way. But when you come at us and give us the same lines of you vote against your self-interest, no sir, I don't actually. You don't know my voting
a lot of
record.
times it's
and-
just going to get ignored because I'm really tired of saying the same
Yeah.
fucking thing.
So it's going to get
every
ignored,
day.
but it's also going to be like, we don't have time for that bullshit.
no,
Not
because I don't
really.
care what
We
people
don't
voted
have
for.
time.
I don't want people's water poisoned. I don't care who they voted for.
Oh,
Yeah.
and also, if you're looking for context and you don't get enough in the captions, just fucking look around my videos, my page, because
Dig a little bit,
I
yeah.
cannot put the entire story of my whole fucking life in a caption of a video. Calm down.
And they ain't going to read it anyway.
Research.
Right,
No,
exactly.
they're not.
No,
They're just
nobody
going
reads
to
the
bitch
caption.
about they're not. Yeah.
No, because that's their dopamine hit.
Yes.
Is to get on
Yeah.
the internet and be mean to people because
bitch.
life's being mean to them,
Because
right?
when they come back out of their bathroom from whatever they're doing in there and look, they've got 99 responses, right? And it's that dopamine.
Yeah, it is.
Positive or negative.
Unless it's one of us responding.
We're dopamine addicts, right?
And then they're like, ugh, what am I going to do?
I think I'll just delete my comment.
Yep, that's exact. Or they keep, and
I already had a screenshot.
yeah, darn. I'm still responding to this.
And I appreciate the fact that you do these response videos.
Yes.
And I feel like we need to do more of that.
We do, but
and
I get really stupid in front of a camera. I don't know if y'all know that.
and what the one the
She said
one,
she got stupid in front of a camera, and I just like beat my microphone up.
Don't touch my mic.
Hold my
Please
beer.
don't touch my mic.
so The one.
We told
Maybe
you.
that stereotype about West Virginians is true. We do like to fight.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
For
yeah.
sure. And the one thing that really and the comment that drives me crazy is everything below 64 is useless and you should move.
Oh, the comment about, well, just move.
No.
Oh, tell me you've never been in a scenario where you haven't had resources to get out.
Right.
Yeah.
Without telling me, absolutely.
You've never been in an abusive relationship. You've never been in an abusive household with parents you can't get away from. There are people, like right now, if they were in a house over here and didn't have a car, like people don't understand how much money it costs to live in a rural poor area. It costs a lot of money, way more than
lot of
living in
money.
in
To
a
have
city.
a car, you
Because-
have to have a car payment. You have to have insurance. You got to pay for gas.
We have no public transportation.
Yeah.
There ain't no sidewalks out here. If you walk
Yeah.
on one of these roads,
You're
nope.
risking your
It
life.
is very
no
dangerous.
Yes.
bikes, and you ain't riding a bike out here.
No, it's dangerous too.
But that's not
You're
just
going to get
dangerous.
hit on purpose if you're on a
Like
bike.
I
out here.
don't. Nobody in any type of fitness level would ride a bike out here for a considerable. You could be in the best shape of your life and it's going to blow your heart out from running up and down them hills.
Up and down,
There's
and
a
what
few
you're
guys that
breathing.
ride
I
up
mean,
and down the mountain here.
That's how they train.
That's how they train.
That's
yeah.
how they get beer.
Oh, just kidding. That's how they
And then-
train their liver.
So when you come at us, be prepared because we do, we are going to stand up for ourselves, but come at us with something that's not, with some new stuff.
Well, they
Because
can't.
I get bored, bro.
No, they can't because if they do that, they'd have to think past their robo answer, right? So if they say that, it's because again, we have challenged that cognitive dissonance because they can't imagine. We've got the people who are here that have been told their entire life they ain't worth shit, they don't deserve shit, nothing.
While
And then-
simultaneously being told you have the best work ethic, you work harder than anybody
built
else
this
on the
country.
planet, you built
Right.
this country on your backs,
you
your
get,
co-miners.
you get positive comments,
But you don't
about,
deserve,
about
you know,
you
a good life.
simping for the, the company store type of
Right.
situation, right? And then the people on the outside, they give away their stereotyping all the time.
Yes.
So like, because when they say things like, whatever, you vote against you deserve this because of how you vote. I know that you think less of us. I know
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
You're wrong.
I've told them they're no better than MAGA.
Oh,
Absolutely
I
no
call
better
them
than MAGA.
Blue MAGA.
They are blue MAGA. They're blue MAGA.
I call them Blue MAGA. They get so mad. They're so mad.
Got hashtag blue MAGA.
Hashtag blue
ask,
MAGA.
Ask your kids if they know hashtag blue MAGA.
So because it's
No,
it's
we ain't going
No.
there.
the
they
approach to
don't.
the same situation. It's the same belligerence and the lack of listening. You're not hearing. It is not your job to tell other people how they should
What their
experience
experience is,
their
yeah.
struggle, or when I oh my god, it gets me mad when they're like, oh, the victim mentality. And it's
You just want to complain about
the victim
something.
mentality. It's almost always a dude. And then my response to that is, I bet every individual you've been in a relationship with that has come to you about something that you
behavior.
said,
Called them a
and you've been
victim.
like, yeah, I bet you're real popular. I hope that red pill works out for you. Yeah. I mean, I don't need anyone to, you don't have to discredit, you don't have to agree with things that happen or the things that you think other people are describing or the way that they're describing it, but you don't get to decide what other people's reality is
Based
so
on your
that-
own limited experience.
so that you can maintain the
Your-
rose-colored glasses
your
in
privilege.
yours, because your rose-colored glasses aren't seeing the sulfur out here in this creek. Your rose-colored glasses aren't seeing people struggling because you've been taught not to see them. They are the untouchables, the undesirables, the people that you're not supposed to see, which is also intentional because that's how the cities and towns in West Virginia have been set up so that people don't go in and see how those people live intentionally. And that is because if you see how they live, then you might have a little bit of empathy and you might change the way you do things. And I hope that I never get to a point in my life where I am so callous towards the needs of other people that I willingly look at what is happening and then intentionally tune them out or don't listen or tell them that that's not the way that it is.
My life is good, so
Right.
I have a good life here.
Yeah. What's good
I
for the
don't
goose
think you
isn't good for the
can
gander.
because of where you come from. I really think that part of where we are in this world, in this dynamic, on this planet hurtling through space right now is in this transition period because the Earth cannot sustain what we're doing to it in the name of rugged individuality, capitalism, all of these things. It's not
all things
sustainable.
will come to an end.
Exactly.
No matter what.
We can't sustain it.
Correct.
Right.
So what we have
The
at
Earth
the end of the day,
will shake us off like fleas.
right, whether or not we can survive it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for those who are left after what shakes out over the next 10 years, because again, these are not sustainable systems that we're in. And we know with things coming down the pike that we're going to have major shifts and lots of people dying because they can't get resources, like struggle and reevaluation of community resources. So is your PhD or your dissertation something that we can use like a tool?
Well, it's going like the strategic planning aspect, which is about cultural competency and understanding the culture that, like I said, you are serving, in order to then evaluate what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses, like what are our opportunities, that's a SWOT analysis.
Like this
what are the
resource
threats,
catalog,
right?
right,
Yeah. And then on top of that, having...
She just throws out, it's a SWOT analysis.
Sorry.
Like, it's just what you do. That's what the SWAT teams do. It's just all of this. That's a SWOT analysis. Like,
It's one way to approach integrated planning, strategic planning. But I think
I
that...
have headphones on. I love it. I'm so dumb next to
It's
y'all.
just the first letter in front of all of this. It sounded way smarter than what it was. Strength, weaknesses, opportunity, threats, SWAT.
Gotcha.
SWAT. I was thinking of a SWAT team.
So was I.
Not SWAT.
SWAT team.
that is SWAT. Now that you pointed out.
SWAT analysis.
That's my SWAT.
So doing this analysis of your resources.
So
and-
when I go writing and evaluating, colleges in the state and things like that, to me, so I look at all of our towns and I'm like, oh, they don't have infrastructure. And so for colleges to plan for having resources, because colleges, especially if they're public colleges, they
Are
are
like
supposed
towns.
to be a public good and provide a public good. And yes, they bring in people from outside of this area, right? And so when they go to plan, they are also, if they're supposed to be a good and provide a good, then they should be, I always use the infinity symbol with this, they should be integrated into the economy of the community they are serving. And no, that doesn't mean that everybody within your vicinity is your competition, because I actually don't believe in that type of competition, because if your mission statement, all mission statements should be different. You should be serving people in a different way, right? And so in that, how do you best serve this group of people? You create a profile of like, this is the best type of student that I can serve in these, areas. We cannot be everything to everyone. That is a huge piece there. And I think a lot of our entities, especially in a mono economy, try to be that. We will always pay the price as a result of that, because they are not engineering their work to the people who are doing it and the people who are benefiting. And so in that, it is the people in charge who are benefiting, because it's, this new cool idea or this political initiative or this thing over here. And all of those quick, short decisions end up resulting in, a mudslide.
Right.
Yeah.
Unexpected consequences because they didn't do the groundwork on the community to really
we
evaluate
see this
it.
all over the state. And the best way I can describe it is like a lot of these politicians or, large corporations are ran by people who do not live here and they're not from here.
They don't even understand.
But it doesn't, even if they weren't from here, but could, because cultural competency, it's a pendulum. Like you can become competent in other cultures and be able to navigate
be from
that.
here to understand it. You just have to try.
You do know what you have to do. You have to accept it, and then you have to then be able to
acknowledge it as real.
Yeah, and then that group has to then allow you to integrate within that community, so that you can then transition back and forth between yours and that community. But in order to do that, you can't think that group of people is beneath you, and you can't devalue their culture. You may not like pepperoni rolls. You may not understand the symbolism of a burning couch. Okay, you may not understand all that, and that's fine.
Right.
But
you have to acknowledge that it's part of where you are.
Right. And the majority of the situation, and I'm gonna go push a little further on this. That is your colonization because you have been stripped of your culture. Now, we are lucky in that respect that though I am, have a lot of ancestry from a lot of different backgrounds, the one benefit to being from here, even though we struggle, is at least I have a culture that I can fall into and learn and connect with other people without having to rob it from someone else because it was taken from me. And we don't lean into that enough, but then there's self-awareness of those people that are coming from the outside. Yes, I understand there are people here. When I talk to these people from here who are like kind of locked down, I have to remember I used to be that.
Well, and let me give you an example I think that ties exactly to what you're saying. In places like McDowell County, when we have folks who come here to play on their ATVs or come here to do the off-roading things and fall in love with it and want to buy a place here. And so they'll look for property and they'll find a place here, and they're from New York or New Jersey or California or somewhere. And then there's an issue with the road or the infrastructure, and they go to the local government because in those places, I'll pause
Bless
for
their
the
heart.
Cute. That's adorable.
right?
Yeah.
Because in those places, your local governments actually
Sorry, we need
respond
more time
to
for the laugh.
They govern?
I'll step back.
Is that wild? That's what they do?
Right. So I'm seeing the tension around this and how these folks are like, no, I went to town hall and they laughed at me. And now I'm like going to the county and they're not being responsive, and this is not acceptable.
And then you just get on the internet and you shame them for free.
Bless your heart.
So I'm hopeful. Like, the optimist in me is hopeful that like the gentrification of McDowell County through the ATVs might actually spontaneously create some sort of responsiveness, because they're going to force that issue. They come from a different culture as it pertains to their local governments, where they expect and demand responsiveness.
We get that in the comments too.
Right. Why don't you go to
have
town
you been
hall?
to your local government?
Have you?
Yeah, they don't
That's
like
why
me.
I laugh on these
Sorry.
podcasts and say we know not to write our legislators anymore.
My name is notorious in this area.
I got blocked on Facebook from a county commissioner from his county commission page.
So yes, the answer is
Entirely.
yes. We've been
He
there.
hates me.
I've been escorted out of the state capitol by 5 state troopers before. Yes, we've tried.
Yes, we've talked to our government. Thank
yes.
you.
So yeah,
I don't know if you know our history. Talking
It never really, it doesn't work out.
translated well.
So
It
I
doesn't
want to
work
tell.
out.
I want to
They
tell y'all
bomb
a
us,
story.
Okay.
So you remember
Literally.
you remember when Bernie came, right? And they had, like, right after Bernie came to West Virginia, they had
Like this recently?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they was that call. Were you on it, or was it?
No, I wasn't.
It was Christine was on it.
Yeah.
So they had this call. Tom gets on and is like, yeah, and telling them all about the shit that's happening here.
I thought
and
it
they're
was
like,
about issues.
they're like, let me get you in contact with, such and such. And we're like, yeah, we're in a fucking group chat with them.
Yeah.
We were hoping you would help us.
and they were
Sorry, you didn't do shit.
and
we were
they were
they were
schooling
there
commenting.
for organizing 101.
The people that they were referring us to were commenting like, yeah, we know
know
all
Tom.
about we know
We know Tom.
We're aware of Tom.
Copy
and
that.
Which
we're-
should tell all
Tom's
of us.
sitting there going, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
This is
And I'm
why
like, I thought this is about issues. I was going
Right.
to bring some issues to the
We have
to
issues,
the
bro.
table.
they ain't ready for our issue.
They
don't-
want to talk about like
Their
going
issues.
door to door.
Yeah, they wanted us to go door to door. I'm like, bitch, I am not going door to door to
Have
talk
you
about
seen
you.
how far door to door is
serious?
here?
And in lieu of door to door,
And that's
what
a
we've
good way to
created is
get
a
shot.
podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what we've learned by going door to door is it takes a tremendous amount of resources, people, and time, trust, all of these things that for 30 years we've been going door to door.
I mean,
not
well,
working.
Hold on. You don't go door to door and holler, or you're
No.
going to be met with a
I
barrel.
know,
of
but I wanted to be like,
what?
That's
what?
how you get shot.
so- that's
should-
one of
that,
those
that
things.
comment right there should have been like, ma'am, I would do
Oh.
better with a basket handing out stickers at
As
Walmart.
soon as they were
Like,
talking about what were they
do
calling
not
come
come knocking on my door. If you come,
Canvassing.
if you come down my driveway
Canvassing.
and you have not been invited,
No.
you are not going to have a pleasant experience when you get down to the end of my
Have
driveway.
you ever
That's
had
right.
a shotgun put
That's
in your
right.
face, ma'am? Ma'am.
We have signs
Door to
around here
door.
that say, if you can read this, you're in range.
We are in a rural area.
Not no
going door
trespassing.
to door. We're in a.
By the way, we're also
Yeah.
This ain't a
and this
fucking
is
Where were they
cul-de-sac,
from?
bro.
Where
So
were
the
they
same
from?
thing happened.
one was from Illinois.
Oh, yeah, one
Another
was from
person was from
Indiana.
like Indiana.
the same thing happened in 2008 with Obama's campaign in Colorado. They came to people who had been organizing in Latino communities for decades and tried to tell them how to organize in their communities. And we went
the
there
one thing
trying
you
to gain
don't do.
right. We went there trying to gain resources and realized we were being told how to do the thing that we were all really good at doing, and it was a missed opportunity to evaluate the resources within your community, find out where those folks have those connections. You're already 20-30% of the way there. What language does each community speak?
In whose right mind looked at Hispanic community and was like, we need to teach them white people, shut up.
Yeah.
I mean, if you
people.
tell me you don't know
You don't
anything
know-
about the Hispanic community without telling me you don't know anything about the Hispanic community.
In this Zoom call, folks, hey, you should vote blue, crowd out
Yeah,
there.
here you
this
go.
was as blue as it gets.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Okay, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders' people as blue as you can get it.
Right. And there again,
That's what they were telling
the
us to do.
intent is good.
Right.
But the
I get it.
execution of this plan is daft. You're not listening to
thing
the
is
people
that
who matter.
they're telling us to do the same thing that they've been doing for decades. That obviously
'cause they-
Not
is
working.
not doing anything.
Because they have internalized and do not understand that they have internalized that they believe they are better than us.
Can you say that again?
They have internalized and don't know it. That is a subconscious stereotype, a bias that has been embedded. Okay. There is discrimination and bias against people from West Virginia and Appalachia as a whole. Our vice president made money about that. So we have to recognize that as the people who live here, because when we make statements like that lady made about mountaintop removal, we are upholding our own oppression when we are doing that. And then we are not, acknowledging it's intentional to not acknowledge our struggle, like within that process. But that is a perfect example of top down perspective. We are going to tell you all how to organize because it doesn't look like it's working out here, and we clearly think we know better than you because we've not taken the time to figure this out. We are one of the most gerrymandered states in the nation, first of all.
Hands down.
Okay. And then secondly,
Mobility issues. We touched a little bit
Yes.
on that about, if you have a car, it's very expensive to go to population centers to do things or to get things.
but you're not going to move out of here with what? With what van? Who's got a van that you know? Who's
How
got
much
a
is your
truck?
property worth?
She's got a truck. Is it?
Yeah.
How
like-
are you going to...
Who's gonna buy a piece of property that
Next to a strip mine.
that's next to a strip mine, or maybe you don't have a bridge,
Or smells like
or
sulfur?
maybe you don't have clean water coming into your home. Maybe it smells strong of sulfur every day of the week, and who in their right mind is going to buy this piece of property?
And if they leave, they lose their generational wealth.
Absolutely.
It's the only generational wealth that
the
some of
only
these
thing
people
they
have.
have.
So then you are telling them to sacrifice their generational wealth so that you don't have to deal with the fact that an entire region has been kept in systematic poverty to keep your lights on, and is treated terribly because infrastructure is intentionally withheld because you are also actively upholding the fact that that group of people is somehow less valuable than you are. And you tell us that we vote against our best interest because you mean we vote against your best interest because you don't give a shit if we're suffering or not. And that is why, as a United States, we will struggle until we learn to build community because you want everybody to change and you want people to be better, but you aren't willing to look and see, like, I understand the people around here voted red because for the years under blue, things were not going well for them.
Right.
Do I think that it was a great option? Nah. No.
What else was there?
Yeah, what other choice?
So, and
they
now am I saying
and
that, you know-
I'm not justifying anything,
No.
but for years I have tried to understand. I'm always a person that wants to try to understand somebody else's perspective. Why do you think that? Why?
So
Why?
South Park got it right back in the early 2000s when they said we had to choose between a douchebag and a turd. Now, there is one of those turds that seems to do much more harm on a global scale than maybe somebody else. But then when you've got the people here who can't even think about people suffering on a global scale because nobody's thought about their suffering in generations.
That's right.
You can't, if you've been convinced that you aren't struggling, and those of you who like to say the whole victim mentality, you are upholding that. You're upholding your own struggle in that way. When you've been systematically told that you're not struggling or you deserve to struggle,
Your struggle's not bad enough. It's not as bad as this person's struggle.
comparative suffering's never worked for anybody. Right. And one person suffering is one person suffering. What does it matter if somebody else has suffered worse in someone's perspective?
Exactly.
It's still suffering.
Suffering is suffering.
I want suffering to end.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. If people were given valid options, we also have had continuous underfunding of education, which has been intentional. So then we get told all the time, like, you need to educate yourself.
How?
And then you vote against your best interests, all the while ignoring, because cognitive dissonance, they don't want to acknowledge that the Democratic Party is also a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if they did that, then they lose their last stitch of hope. You got to lose that hope
Right.
because nobody's coming
That's
to save
right.
us.
Yeah. Nobody's coming to save us.
And it's
It's
that tribal,
Appalachians saving Appalachians.
Nobody's coming to save us, and I've been saying that for a long time.
and it's that tribalism, right? We have been split apart here lately in the past 20 years, and it's either you're for this side or that side, and there's no room in the middle.
So people don't have to think. If you're part of the blue team, then I can
Exactly.
just trust you. Since when?
Right.
Or if you're part of the red team, we can just since when?
Okay, that this is speaking of the Bernie thing, and something that happened today. So there was this woman from the Bernie thing that I guess helped organize it, and I knew the name, and she had said that she wanted a sticker of our podcasts. I asked her to be my friend on Facebook. I was like, oh, if you're a fan, we're kind of like-minded. Okay, cool. Then I get a message saying, well, after the berating I just got, I can't believe you asked me to be your friend. Interesting. And then I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but okay. And then I blocked her.
Which is usually the decent response.
Look, I am not going to put up with some bullshit. I ain't got time for your fucking drama.
My life force is precious, and I want to spend it on other things.
If I said something to upset you, tell me what it was, and we'll talk about it. But don't come at me like that, because obviously I was asking you to be my friend. We're not close yet for you to talk to me
If
that
you
way.
took a video I had personally,
I don't even know what it was. I was like, I have no idea what it is.
Lace it up and wear it.
Right.
Exactly. And quite honestly, I would really
And
love
how
to
would-
know what pissed you off.
how would I know that
just
you
for my
just felt
own
like
shits and giggles?
You felt like you got chewed out just by watching one of my videos.
Like, honey, girl,
we can't be friends.
Like, I don't even know you yet, and you're worried about something I said.
And this has been a problem in this state for a long time, is the inability to get out of our own way.
And that's the thing. And
And to
so
put
I didn't
our-
know who this woman was. And I asked around.
Now you
and
know.
her reputation preceded her. Okay. And so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna delete her, because I don't need drama like that. I don't care who you are. If you come at me with drama like that, I'm not.
I don't have time for it, right?
Yeah, right. And so, come to find out, there was a post made today that she mistaken me
For someone else. Imagine that.
So,
Real. Okay. How many Lindsays with short hair are fighting for water buffaloes in Wyoming County?
I don't know.
We need to find the other one.
I really need to know who this person is who has the same name as me.
They don't.
I'm
don't.
calling bullshit. So here's the thing. I will unblock you. You can follow me. We're not friends.
That seems like a reasonable response.
Period.
I'm going to tie us up
Yeah,
with a bow
I know.
here. And
Is there
I wanna-
anything on this list?
Final words
Yeah,
from
we
our
said
guests.
I said it
already.
We have glossed over, because
This
you're
has been a
you're the first-
fascinating
you're-
conversation.
I think you're probably I don't know. The Rivers folks may have had some notes. I don't know.
I doubt it. I know Mariah didn't, because she was just like, yeah, this is bad.
Yeah. This
Sucks. Which, by the way, Mariah, that
Rock
that
star.
energy, more
Yeah,
of that,
we love
please.
Mariah.
You're
so
a rock
much.
star. So
To me, like this whole I'm a ride or die, and it's always going to be West Virginia. It's always going to be the people here. I'm always going to take up for those people. I'm always going to be the person I wish I had. And to me, that's the only way to live. It's doing what is absolutely necessary. It is being the maybe the one lifeline like somebody could have needed. To me, it is the closest I could possibly get to living an example or in the way of like Jesus Christ, right? Like it's the best way that I could get as close to that as possible, while maintaining some type of humility and then being hyper aware of the needs outside of myself, because there are people who suffer far worse than me all the time. And I have dedicated myself to like growing up and getting older and hopefully gaining wealth so that I could give it away, because nobody else is going to do that.
Right.
And it's because you don't know what doing. Like I read a story yesterday of somebody I know who she purchased an elderly woman's groceries at a dollar store for like $11. For people here, that could have
Oh my
been
gosh,
the
that could
difference
mean you
between
can pay your rent or not.
correct and be able to eat.
Right. Right.
And
make
so
it work.
Yeah.
and
Right. that
I
could
will
put gas in her gas tank.
do
with that
it
freed
over
up,
and over
right.
again. I don't care who they voted for.
right.
Now, if you're a piece, you'll get what you get. I still want you to eat, just not at my table.
That's right.
And I'm still going to make sure you've got food.
I'm not going to take things away from you just because we feel differently or see things differently.
No, but I'm also West Virginian, and the fact of knowing that
I don't have to
being that
like
way makes me better.
That's right.
Because that's the killing with kindness. Because you can be horrible to me, and I'm still going to want better for you. And at the end of the day, I'm going to know that that's far better than wishing you unwell.
That is that Christ mind.
And I don't want to live my
I'll
life
get
any
there one
differently.
day.
Well, I think like, well, there's like a lot of, I mean, I have to constantly work on loving myself, including
Yes.
the parts that I hate.
Yes.
Okay. Because, if you follow that path at all, I'm sorry, but you can't love your neighbor as yourself if you hate yourself.
Yeah.
Because you're just going to hate your neighbor. And I don't want to live a life to where I am not reflective enough. I don't want to live a life where I am not conscious of the fact that me existing and flailing around might hurt other people, and being accountable to that. Because if that's what I want to see out of our political leaders, if that's what I want to see out of our society, then I got to do it first. And that's from the TikTok situation. I'm not saying every time I jump on there, it's like something that's intentionally educational, but I'm going to take the opportunity while I might have someone's
Yes.
undivided attention
An
even for a
audience
couple
for that
seconds.
moment, right.
And somehow it's been relatable and it's been wicked cool. And I have met so many people as a result of, I have built community by talking about building community.
I know, it's
With
great.
my West Virginian people.
It's because you're
And I'm
speaking
so
it into
honored.
existence.
Like
It's
being
awesome.
part of your community, it feels extra special because like I know that as soon as she connected us on like a personal level, it was like just instant, right, same level right here, and those of us who've lived enough life to know that that's rare. And when you find that, you hold on to it.
Yeah.
And this time in this place with these people is very important right now. In this state, this time, this place with these people is important. So will you come back and talk about hating yourself and how to not do that?
Oh, I was like, I'm not teaching
Not
people
talking
to do
about you
that.
hating yourself, but I
Don't do
really
that.
think that
A lot of people
the
hate
self-loathing,
themselves.
right?
Yeah,
The
it's
self-loathing
And it's
that's
always
present
something.
here.
Well,
Yes.
if you like something about yourself, there's going to be something
Yes.
you hate.
Well, we're indoctrinated to do that.
And I want to
course.
unpack that more, but we're out of time
Yeah,
I
on this
know,
podcast.
But thank you so much for
Welcome.
coming and
Thank you
being
for having
on
me.
the podcast. Thank
Her
you
energy
for,
is like just as big, maybe bigger in person than she appears
Thank
on
you for
Facebook. On
being
TikTok.
my friend.
I said that I imagine this really, I'm a big girl, right? So like I picture everybody bigger than me. When I picture you on TV, like you're this big presence, and
I
then
was like, how did I look?
how did I look big?
I'm like,
You're
not
this little package firecracker, inspiration teacher.
like a chihuahua.
Yes. Yeah.
Yo quiero Taco Bell.
I like it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank
All
you,
right.
We're going to wrap it up
guys.
for tonight. Thank
We'll
you
see
for
ya.
joining us. Y'all take care.
Bye.
Appalachian Living is sponsored in part by Wade Law Firm PLLC, Sage Stitch Finance Corporation, representing wisdom and mending what we already have, providing gap funds for resilient renovations.
Appalachian Living is also brought to you by Hope Money Coaching, rescuing you from financial chaos and leading you to a path of financial wellness. Minimalist Gym, helping men and women navigate their health and fitness without restrictive fad diets.